So in response to Gunwild's challenge of your oldest gun, he made the statement of it can be the one you've owned the longest or the oldest one you have. Well, of course, I've got both. Here, this one right here, it is a Mauser 98 Action, and this is one that my uncle made. Now I remember when I was a little fella, I'd go down into a shop and I saw on the wall a blank for a rifle stock. And then, a year later I'd go down there and the rifle stock had been shaped pretty well into a finished product, but it wasn't finished. And then maybe a year after that I'd go down and I saw a completed rifle stock. And when I got this rifle from him, he said, hold on to it because don't sell it. This is one that I made completely. I carved the stock. I said, is that the stock I kept saying over your bench and the vise on the wall? And he said, yes. So when I got this, my father bought it from him for $160 in 1980, and I was 16 years old. This was my first true deer rifle. I'd shot a deer the year before in '79 with my father's Savage 223, but my father wanted me to have something a little bit more than that cartridge, so this is a 6mm Remington. And this one thing about this stock is if you can see this grain in the wood, see how it curls around that comb right there? That's what you want. That builds strength into that stock. The finish is worn off here because I used to carry it with my hand just like that all the time, and I've shot multiple deer with this rifle. I'd say probably 30 to 40 deer with this. Now, at one time, let me turn this over. This piece right here, which is your bolt release, that was jeweled. But from me having it in the field and carrying it all the time, sometimes my hand would be here. That jewelling has worn off. That's kind of a shame because he put the time to put that in there. And you can see I've got, I don't know what that is, gunk in the checkering, and that's all his hand carved checkering. And that right there is his, you see that 2B? I don't know if that'll focus. Anyway, that is 2B, and that actually stands for Quentin and his last name, which is my last name. And then he's got one, looks like 161 on there. I don't have much in the way of a scope on there. It looks like a Tasco pronghorn. That's what it is. Yeah, it's Tasco. 3x9 by 32. But anyway, this is the gun that I've had the longest. I got it when I was 16, and I'm 59 now. So anyways, I think I figured it up at like 43 years or something like that. I got it in 1980 is when I got it. So this is the gun I've had the longest. We'll say 43 years. Sporterized Mauser. Actually, it's just the action. He put the barrel on it and the stock. So anyway, let me move on to a second gun I have. All right, in reference to the oldest gun I have, meaning how old is the actual gun, it would likely be this one. And the reason I say that is, I know that you're looking at this and saying, well, that's a modern gun. Yes, it is. But the action, believe it or not, this is a true Mauser 98 action that I bought in a pawn shop. And when I bought it, it had the original stock that had been sporterized by someone. They did a great job on it. It had the original step-down 8mm barrel. And the thing is, in the pistol grip part of the stock, it was cracked. Anyway, I bought this stock and this barrel, and I took it up to Tennessee and gave it to my uncle, and I said, can you put this together for me? It's a 7mm 08. And he did, and he told me when I picked it up that he found the date on the action, and it was 1904. So this is likely the oldest rifle I have, but really, what is the rifle? I just say it's the action, because things like barrels and stocks and scopes are bolt-on pieces. So anyway, the oldest gun I have is this Mauser with a dual trigger. It came like that, and from the pawn shop they had it listed at like $155, and I had to jump through hoops to get them to come down to $145, because all I wanted was this right here. And my uncle asked if he could keep the stock, and I gave it to him for doing this for me. And anyway, that's it. 7mm 08. It's got a red filled scope on it, Leupold rings. It's got that set trigger, which makes the front trigger around a pound, if that. I'll have to check it one day. I never have. But anyway, this one is pretty much a mirror to my 7mm Remington Magnum that I had the other day. So anyway, that's probably the oldest. Now I got a couple of pistols that are close to this one in age. I'll just show them to you and tell you the story on them. All right, the first one, as far as oldest pistol that I have, I'm going to say is this Bayard, B-A-Y-A-R-D. I do have a video on this. It's got a U.S. patent of 1908 on it, and I think when I looked this up, I think it dated right around, I'll just say in between 1915 and 1920. It's a 32 ACP. It's really an interesting little gun. The barrel is on the bottom of the slide. And the way you take it apart is that front sight lifts up and the spring comes out, and you can slide the top part off. It's got just a little I can't think what you call it, finger release magazine in there. holds 5 rounds, I believe. One in there, so it'd be 6, I think. I can't remember. I don't shoot this very often, but it does shoot and it functions quite well. Again, that's the Bayard 1908 little pocket pistol. All right, the last oldest gun that I have, well, it's probably not the last. I'll go look. I think I have a Carcano that's from the turn of the century rifle, so I'll look at that. But anyway, this is a Ivor Johnson, and the last patent on it is 1893, so I'm thinking this is an early 1900s pistol. Now, the interesting story about this is some of you who follow me know that my stepfather was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And the doctor suggested that he get rid of all of his guns. And the reason why is when you start losing your memory and you get dementia and things like that, you may not know what you're doing. So I went through the long, arduous task of helping him get rid of a lot of them, and that means selling them through an FFL. And I sold about half, and I actually purchased about half of them. Well, after we had moved him into a senior living facility, I noticed one day he brought this pistol out and he threw it in the trash can. And I walked over to the trash and I picked it up, and he come over to me and he took it out of my hand and he carried it back over to the trash and threw it away. So when he walked back into his room, I got it out of the trash and I put it in my pocket, and I told my mother, I said, this is a real gun, he can't throw it in the trash. I said, I'll take care of it. So I did some research on it and looked it up and found out what it was. And I don't think it's shootable, to be honest. You pull the trigger, the cylinder turns, and it does drop, but there's something else wrong with it. The barrel looks eat up. I don't think you can see any rifling in it. But anyway, I just have it kind of as a talk piece. I'm going to see if I can show you this. It opens up. You grab this and you pull it up, and it opens like that. And you see this cylinder, it'll just fall out right here. I don't think it's supposed to do that. I don't know. But anyway, I have marked on here 38 Smith and Smith & Western or something like that. Anyway, someone will probably know more. 38 Western, I don't know. One unique thing about this is it actually has a trigger safety in here. I don't know if you can see that operating. So back at the turn of the century, they created a trigger safety. Found that kind of interesting. And Ivor Johnson, they built bicycles. So again, that's something that's interesting too. So anyway, that's all I have on this particular old gun.